You know how cool the background looks on the monitor here. I love it. That is so cool. Well, greetings everybody. My first live stream at the new place and that, and I apologize for not being on last week, but we're in the midst of moving, and I couldn't find half the stuff, and you know all the fun stuff when it comes to moving and that. So, but I'm back and that. Now, today I'd like to talk about, or at least touch base on, something I spoke about on Wednesday on the StreamYard that I did. And then, plus I did a stream quite a while back about spirit pets. And then, hey Tinker, and basically I touched base on when it comes to the behavior of spirit cats, spirit dogs, stuff like that. I think I did touch base about horses and stuff and that, but I kind of wanted to expand upon that a little bit and that. And that's basically, you know, like what happens to our pets when they leave the physical and that. Well, that's very simple. They continue what they did when they're alive. You know, all the things that they enjoy doing in life, well, they continue to do that in spirit and that. But then again, it depends on the type of animal that you have too. And that, like spirits, dogs, and cats, you know, naturally they come back or they remain in an area where they were happiest, best experiences, whatever. And that, but there's a kind of a flip to that, if you will, about animals that live on a farm. Okay, a bit of a difference there, and that because my father-in-law, he was born on a farm, and he lived for many years on a farm with his dad, and then they had all kinds of animals and such, including horses and that, and hey Marilyn, and then, but the one interesting thing is when it comes to spirit dogs, when it comes to the way they behave when they're in spirit, is basically the same way that they did when they're alive. Okay, like I've seen a lot of dogs that have passed and that lived on a farm and they served on a farm. Okay, and you know, one of the greatest animals to have on a farm basically is naturally a dog and a horse, and that because they're the ones that interact with humans. Okay, where the other farm animals, they choose to distance themselves from humans. They want to do their own thing, like cows, pigs, goats, you know, whatever. Okay, they're more wild, and that. Sure, they can be domesticated to a point, okay, but when it comes to dogs and horses and that's different, okay. Sure, they can interact with the wild, but they're still domesticated, okay. Now, when it comes to a dog, okay, sure, they're man's best friend, but but when it comes to the security of the other animals, they're also a great security dog. Okay, and one thing I love about dogs, okay, is basically, especially if they're guarding your animals, whether it's horses, sheep, whatever, okay, and let's say a threat is coming, okay, like a wolf or some other kind of wild animal is approaching, okay, well, that dog will put itself in harm's way between who they're protecting against the enemy. Okay, they're willing to go right in between and defend to the point that they'll actually be willing to die protecting, the sheep, the sheep, the horses, cows, whatever they're protecting. So they're great protection. Okay. Well, I was told that, okay, let's say a dog is just for example, okay, let's say you got a dog that is protecting sheep and a wolf is approaching. Okay, well, that dog, without even hesitation, will put itself in harm's way in between. You know, they'll growl, showing teeth, the whole bit, and that, and they'll try and chase the, they'll try and distance the sheep. You know how the sheep are very timid. They're trying to say, okay, sheep, back up. There's a danger here. Okay, well, they'll continue until either A, the wolf backs off, or B, the wolf attacks the dog and not the sheep. Okay, well, let's say that that guard dog loses its life. Okay, well, it did its best. Okay, in protecting. Okay, well, when that guard dog comes out of the physical and is now a spirit dog, okay, well, that dog will continue to bark and to protect. Even though he's no longer in the physical, he'll continue to he'll continue to do his duty, even though the other animals can't hear him or anything like that. They can sense him and that, but they'll continue to do that. And once they know that they've done their job in spirit, that dog will come back to the house and say, "Hey, I'm back," you know. And many dogs have done that. And now, when it comes to animals like horses, okay, naturally, you know, you see, even though they sleep in a barn and that, they're mostly, well, they enjoy being free more than anything. Okay, and also if there's other horses, that's even better. You know, they have a companion to run around with. Okay, because there's one thing that the horses absolutely love is to run around free. They adore that. Okay, they were made for that. Sure, they're trained to do other things. Okay, but and that they still love doing that, but they're also still willing to serve man in different ways. You know, like plowing and you know, transportation, you know, like you know, going for a horseback ride from one area to another, all the things that you normally do with a horse. Okay, and in some cases, my father-in-law's case, and then you know, he breeds them, he trains them, and then he puts them into a competition, and that, and because my father-in-law understood the temperament of a horse, okay, he knew their limits. And that, but still, the horse said, okay, you know, you want me to compete? Not a problem, okay. But eventually, as we all know, the horses don't last forever, and then eventually they do pass, and that. And the one thing that always sticks in their mind is the stuff that they enjoy doing the most, and that's basically running around free. So, and that, or if now this is going way back to 1800s during the war. Okay, the horse's main job was to get the soldier from point A to point B. You know, well, many men and many horses were killed in battle. Okay, well, they always come back. You see, the horse has an obligation, okay, to serve its master, in this case, a soldier. Okay, that's one of the reasons why whenever you've gone into a place like, I'll just give you one location to top of my head, Gettysburg. Okay, many people have actually seen what they call a phantom horse or a spirit horse with a rider, you know, not galloping, sometimes galloping around, sometimes just walking around, you know, trotting, and that they'll see that kind of stuff at a distance. Okay, well, basically, that's what they do in spirit. Basically, is they continue doing their duties. The horse continues to serve his master, even in spirit. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, it's just that when it comes to these kind of animals, and that they're born to serve. Okay, and sure, the horses have limitations, but still, you know, they'll always want to serve, whether in the physical or in the spirit. Okay, so that's one thing about between dogs and horses that I really, really love, is that their dedication to the master. Okay, but the master really needs to know the limits of these magnificent animals. Okay, now when it comes to horses, and that there's certain things that horses do kind of give, I don't know, hints or warnings about the things that you should do as opposed to what you shouldn't do. This is when they're in the physical, and that is basically, well, first of all, when you approach a horse from the back, bad move. Okay, especially when someone either slaps him on the rear end or pats him on the rear end. The natural instinct for a horse is for the hind leg to boot, to buck. Okay, which if you got a hoof in the head, sometimes that could be fatal. Okay, well, the horse doesn't do that, spite or anything like that. For them, it's a defense mechanism. Okay, they can't see it, they don't like it, so they give a warning, or or they defend themselves. Okay, basically, it's a kind of a built-in stay away mechanism. And that, but when it comes to the front part of a horse, naturally, if you rub their nose and you pat them, they don't do anything. Okay, it's because they can see you. See, as long as a horse can see you, okay, they're content. Okay, and they're also very easily distracted in that. I don't know if you've ever been to competitions where they have blinds, okay, on the back part of the eye. Okay, that's to prevent distraction, and so the horse can concentrate. Okay, now anyway, back to the spirit stuff, and that now. When it comes to more wild animals, okay, they tend not to interact with people, and that because they're more wild, where horses, dogs, and cats, especially horses, and that they're more domesticated. Okay, they're trained to serve us. Okay, just like dogs are trained to serve us, but their natural instinct naturally is to serve in whatever way, and that. But when it comes to my father-in-law, the way he used to train horses to do different things, and that, well, oh yeah, and something else to my father-in-law just made me aware of is when it comes to especially horses, and that of what they're trained to do and of what they learn in the physical, okay, they remember that when they leave the physical, when they're in spirit, okay, they remember that if the master calls, they try their best to respond. And that even though they're enjoying running around free and stuff, they think, oh, I think my master's calling me. I better go and see what he wants. But usually they'll think, okay, he wants me to pull that card. He wants me to do this. He wants me to do that. But unfortunately, because Master can't see him sometimes in that, but at times, believe it or not, there has been some cases where the owner has actually seen the apparition of a horse, or they've had to at a distance heard the horse, especially the galloping hooves or whatever. Oh yeah, and that's so. Anyway, for those people that say that animals do not have a spirit, well, guess what? And for people that have heard them, for people that have seen them, and that they have a soul and spirit just like people do, and that it's just the question is understanding the behavior of the animals once they leave the physical. Okay, basically, they come back to do the things that they love to do the most when they're alive, regardless of what kind of animal it is. And that whether it's dog, cat, horse, doesn't matter. And that they're all here to serve somehow. And that, which I find is absolutely fascinating. And that now, when it comes to wild horses, and that's kind of a different story. They see they see a man and they go, I don't want anything to do with him. They take off. Okay, that's how you could tell. Have you ever seen a horse, a spirit horse, at a distance, and you try and get closer, and he runs off? Chances are that's the spirit of a wild horse. Okay, but if the spirit horse decides to come closer rather than far and then go away, and that spirit horse decides to come back to the master, coming back to where the master lives, okay, well, that's the domesticated horse. That's what I call a work or a service horse. Okay, and there's many ways that these animals can actually communicate with us. And the most popular ways is the way they communicate with us when they're in the physical. That's how they communicate with us in spirit. Okay, but unfortunately, the communication part is the biggest challenge. Okay, when it comes to a horse, and that I found that the one way that you can always tell whether there's a horse nearby is the hooves, and that, or the way it goes. I can't do it. And that when the horse clears its throat, or that noise, whatever they make, clears its throat, or silences, I'm not sure what it is, and that you might hear that a faint noise of that the horse makes when it's clearing its throat or whatever, and that you might hear that, but very faint. Or if you get a voice recorder, you might get that sound on a voice recorder. But either way, that's another way that they can communicate, is just making noises. And that's so. Anyhow, can't really think of anything else to talk about when it comes to spirit animals, other than for that the beauty about these animals is they never ever go away. And that, although when it comes to let's say you got a spirit animal that is looking for its master and cannot find it, okay, well, that will distress the animal quite a bit, as they think, okay, I've come back, but I can't find my master anywhere. Like, does it mean I have to search around the property forever to wait for my master to come back? Well, there's many cases of that, where whether it's a cat or a dog or a horse, and that they come back in spirit. They cannot find their masters anywhere. There's no one to tell them, okay, the master is no longer here. Okay, so unless someone communicates that with them, they'll stay wandering, looking until they find their masters. And it's at that time that I would recommend what I call a spirit animal rescue. And that's basically helping the animal to cross over. I know that sounds weird. Sure, you help people to cross over, but you can also help animals as well. Okay, there's a rightful place for everybody and everything, and that in God's land, not just people. And that it's more rare because animals prefer to be down here to continue to serve. But if the animal's distressed because it's worrying about its master, the chances are the master might have already passed and crossed over himself. And that, so to get the animal to do the same, okay, to me, will be the humane thing to do, the right thing to do. So I recommend, if you ever come across an animal that's distressed, a spirit animal that's distressed because it cannot find its master and is missing its master, okay, chances are its master is in the spirit world. So the best thing to do, and that is to get a psychic or medium to help the animal to cross over, be reunited with his master in the heavenly realms. not on the earth plane. And that, and whether it's a dog, cat, horse, whatever, and that any animal that is strongly linked to the person needs to be rescued, just like a person needs to be rescued. Okay, so I strongly recommend for a psychic medium, and that to help the animal to cross over, be reunited with his master, and that. Now, do that kind of thing. It's rare, but it does happen, and that. And once the two together come back together again, happy times again. So anyway, people, I got many things to do around here. So my next stream will be this coming Monday, and just a reminder that Derek and Stephanie will be on tonight, actually. I hope to be there, and that. And again, tomorrow with Derek's readings, and that. Please join there, and that. And the links to the groups and that this will be taking place will be in the description below. Okay, so for tonight will be the SWYPT Page, and for tomorrow will be Derek Green Psychic Medium Group. Okay, I strongly recommend for you to both check out tonight's stream and tomorrow's stream. Okay, I highly recommend it. Okay, because many people have a chance to interact, especially tonight, and where you can actually do a video link with Derek directly, which is a lot of fun. And that. So anyway, so thanks so much for joining me today. Hope I didn't bore you to tears. And that. And and one thing someone asked me, and that because I moved from one place to another, now we had 2 cats that passed back at the house. Now we moved somewhere else, and that my wife asked me, okay, will our 2 spirit cats follow us? Well, right now they're having so much fun at the old place that they're completely oblivious to us moving. But when they do start searching, my guide and that will escort them over, as they want. And but if not, maybe they're happy. And so these are 2 spirit cats will not be alone, will not be trapped. And that when they want to come over here, and that then my guide will take care of that. And because my guide is beautiful with animals. Okay, doesn't matter what kind of animal. He's an animal lover. And so anyway, people, thanks so much. And then I'll see you. I'll see you next Monday. And Lord willing. Okay, so love and light to all.